Pokemon was always one of those things that I was always very loosely tied to, right? Like, I can recognize that it was like one of the biggest parts of my childhood, but for some reason I pivoted over to Yu-Gi-Oh, right? But like, whenever Pokemon was around, oh my god, I was into it. I got really into it. I collected cards, I played the games, I was on my Pokemon timing for real. So naturally, to refresh my Pokemon knowledge, I had to go back into the classic games and hit it with a randomizer Nuzlocke. So many people have done it before me, but none of them have been me. If this video gets enough likes, I'll actually continue it, but for now, let's go ahead and get right into it. I was relaxing in my room, and then all of a sudden,
it's Shitface! I mean Shitman! Whoops!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it was him, my arch nemesis, Shitman. And for some reason, he broke into my house. On a usual occasion, I'd contact the authorities, but I'll let it slide this time.
That means he must have lots and lots of Pokemon. Can you back up?
Anyway, after Shitman violated my personal space, I walked down to my mom to see if things were okay, and then she told me this.
It would be okay if you had your own Pokemon, but you don't, so... Yeah, geez, son. It would be real great if you had your own Pokemon. But you know, you're just too much of a fucking loser, you know? Well, take care, sweetie. Damn, my mom really just told me I have no bitches.
After my mom accused me of having no Pokemon and no bitches, which she was right about, I decided to go out into the wilderness to do what every 10-year-old would do in that scenario. Make wild animals fight other wild animals. So here's where things get a little bit controversial. See, this is a randomized Pokemon Nuzlocke, which means I get random things as my starter Pokemon, and you can just see what happens next.
What the fuck? Wait, what?
Your eyes do not deceive you. I have a water-type Blaziken who knew flying and fighting moves. This has to classify as some kind of genetic anomaly, right? This is not any normal water-type Blaziken, okay? This is Carl, the water-type Blaziken. You'll see why I said that. Matter of fact, roll the footage right now. So a wild Registeel appeared, right? And bro. Carl came out of the Pokeball and stared his ass down. Carl's aura alone was so wildly intimidating that it made the Registeel explode in an attempt to kill him. But when it exploded, Carl stood perfectly still, watched it die, and did not take practically any damage. Dude stood there, watched him explode, and was like, that was one hell of a warm-up. So then I saw Machamp, and I was super excited to have him on my team because, you know, new route, new Pokemon type shit, and then Carl murdered him. No! So then another Machamp came by, and then Carl looked at him, and then Carl murdered him. Carl then fought a child's bird, and then he burned the bird in front of the child. Oh. He then fought a Nidoking, and then he killed that thing too. And then a cute little squirrel came out of a Pokeball, and then he killed it. And then another Machamp pops up, and guess what? Whoop-de-doo, Carl fucking kills it. I don't know whether this is the 4th or 5th Machamp, but whether it, like, either or, Carl killed it, I don't know what's going on anymore. He's standing on a pile of dead Machamps. I just got him. He really should not be this violent. By this point, my water chicken Carl was paralyzed from his battle with the squirrel. The only reason why Lugia was even mildly able to survive this fight is because he pushed Carl's paralyzed body back into the bushes from where we came and ran away. This next one has to be one of Carl's craziest moments. I decided to walk into a cave in hopes of catching another Pokemon before Carl catches another body. So I find that Pokemon, right? And then Carl finds that Pokemon. So when this little guy saw Carl, he immediately started making the cave collapse in on itself around us. So I was holding back Carl while the cave was collapsing and throwing Pokeballs at this thing and trying to catch it. But it wasn't going into the goddamn Pokeballs. He was trying to take us all out. But here's the thing. Carl was perfectly fine. He was barely taking like 2 damage every time that effect went off, while this other Pokemon was taking massive damage. Carl was literally sitting there watching this Pokemon get pelted by hail with the cave falling down on him and not giving a shit. He literally stood there and stood strong as the only Pokemon on my team. And that's what made this next part one of the scariest parts in the run. Because Carl murdered every other Pokemon that I even mildly had a chance of capturing, he had to fight the second gym leader entirely on his own. Perhaps if this was a regular Pokemon video, I would be screwed right now, but it's not. And this is no regular Blaziken either. This is Carl, the water-type Blaziken, and I swept everybody in there. I'm not kidding. I swept every last one of them. But I'm gonna show you the battles anyway. This Pokemon is already dead. Here's a pretty cool looking guy. And now here's that guy dead. Now this little guy I think is actually pretty cute. Now unfortunately that won't save you from my water chicken pretending to be a fire chicken. Imagine getting owned by a piece of soggy KFC. If you guys want me and Carl's journey to continue, go ahead and get this video to 20k likes. The full VOD is on my YouTube channel right now. But until next time, fellas, thank you for swinging by the Void Cafe. On your way out, be sure to like, subscribe, and smile for the cameraman. And if you're staying for a little bit longer, there are plenty of videos on the menu just for you.